Good morning, friends. It's me, Cassandra from Mobile Om Yoga, and I'm so happy to have you for this free virtual online practice brought to you from the grounds of the historic Mission San Juan here in San Antonio, Texas. This class is part of our free ongoing series that we offer on the first and third Saturdays coming from the San Antonio's Historic National Park as part of our partnership with the Western National Parks Association. So typically we've been offering these classes in person to bring community together to enjoy the outdoors in San Antonio's only national park and to also take in a little bit of culture and history from the different missions here along the mission reach of the San Antonio River. So since all of our current COVID-19 guidelines have allowed us to shift our gears a little bit and offer these practices online for you guys to give you a virtual dose of this experience, to enjoy our national park, a little bit of culture. Hopefully from wherever you are, you can unroll your mat, maybe even outdoors to get some fresh air and to enjoy some virtual community here. So thank you so much for being a part of this practice. I'm so happy to have you here. Let's go ahead and unroll our mats to get started. So for today's practice, if you have a blanket or perhaps a towel that you can use, it's going to come in helpful throughout this class as we work to open up the hips. So we're going to begin by taking that blanket or towel, if you choose, and folding it up a few times so that you can elevate your hips in a nice seated position. So we're just going to start in what we call Sukhasana, our easy seated pose, a nice crisscross in your legs, and maybe take a moment to really focus in on grounding through your sit bones here. So taking a deep breath in through your nose, and then open your mouth, just sigh it out. You've made it to your mats. The hardest part of showing up is already over. So let's all come intentionally into this practice together by closing our eyes. Bring the palms of your hands together in front of your hearts. And we take a moment in this Anjali Mudra, or our salutation mudra, to salute or honor that which brought us to our mats. So taking a moment to mindfully shift from our natural state of living in that busy monkey mind, worrying about something in the future, or perhaps holding on to something from the past. And instead, we just choose with each breath of this practice to arrive here and now. A deep breath in, lifting through the crown of your head. Take an exhale out, letting the shoulders melt down the back. Drinking in a few more deep inhales and completing those exhales. Filling your container, your physical body here, the vessel for your practice, with intentional breath with each inhale, with intentional release with each exhale. Making each breath a reminder to breathe in that intention that brought you here to your mat. One more deep breath in through the nose and exhaling it out. Begin to gently open up through your eyes. Keeping the pinky finger and thumb together, on your next inhale, begin to peel your middle three fingers apart. So we're creating what's called a lotus mudra. I was reminded of this mudra recently by a student who really brought to light that this mudra can be very powerful to use as an intention during these troubling and difficult times. So the story of the lotus flower is that it grows up out of the mud. And it reminds us that our practice of yoga, whether it's here on our mat and the muddiness is dealing with our physical body or the challenges that we meet in our physical practice, or perhaps that awareness of how busy and distracting our mind can be, that instead of getting stuck in the mud, instead of getting stuck in those messy places, that we lift ourselves out like the lotus flower, use those moments of messiness as opportunities to bloom. So as we work through opening the hips today, I invite you to call in this intention of the lotus flower to not get stuck in the mud or the muck, but instead using each time you become aware of any sort of messiness to come back and blossom out to something else, more in line with why you showed up today. So let's take one more breath in and exhale it out. All right, take an inhale. Let's reach that lotus flower mudra up to the sky. As you exhale, go ahead and release your hands back behind you. Bring the fingertips to the earth and then bring your feet out wide. So starting to get the hips loose, just let your knees begin to windshield wipe from side to side. You can kind of shift the weight from hip to hip. And then on the next inhale, just go ahead and bring your knees up to the sky. You're going to take your right ankle and cross it over your left knee. Inhale, sitting up tall here. So here is where we begin to explore the sensations of that right hip. So you're feeling that right knee press away from you, the heart lifting. You may begin to walk your hands in a little closer towards your hips. So you're sitting up a little taller here. And perhaps you begin to scoot that left heel in a little closer towards your sit bones to get a little bit deeper sensation in that right hip. Taking just a few more moments to arrive here. Maybe even closing your eyes. And we really use our breath as a barometer in each posture to start the process of checking in. Where is the mud, the muck, the discomfort? And what do we choose to do with it? To react, to sit in it, or to grow from it? Taking one more breath in and out. And you'll begin to take the left heel a little bit further away once again, releasing that right leg. And once again, finding those windshield wiper knees from side to side, loosening up in those hips. This time, on your next inhale, you'll find your knees to the sky, and you'll take that left ankle across your right knee, letting the left knee press away from the body. Once again, staying aware of that nice open chest. You can walk the hands in a little closer or the heel, and just really getting into your experience. What's going on in your container? The greatest wisdom of this practice does not come from anything outside of ourselves. Taking one more moment, breathing in fully here and emptying it out. And then releasing back out. This time, you're going to let the feet come together and allow your knees to open up side to side. And you can bring those heels in as close as feels comfortable or as far as you need to. And allow the knees just to splay apart. Gravity taking over here. Once again, maybe moving from your sit bones and getting nice and grounded. We're just going to take a seated cat-cow here. So you're going to inhale to lift up and open through the chest. And as you exhale, tuck your chin, draw the belly in and roll back. Inhale, lifting up through the chest, lifting up through the chin perhaps. And exhaling it back. Just a few more rounds, rocking in the pelvis, flexing through the spine. Last time each direction here. And then you'll inhale, begin to lift tall through the heart. And as you exhale, pulling yourself nice and long. Get as deep as you can here. So the hands can stay on your ankles. Maybe you reach forward, and that feels good to get a little deeper sensation in your hips. Or perhaps you take the hands, maybe a self-assist, just gently grounding onto the inner thighs or the hips. Roll the shoulders away from the ears. Let's take one more breath in here. And exhaling, maybe hinging just a bit deeper. On your next inhale, begin to rise all the way up. Go ahead and shift your knees to one side, and you're just going to roll onto your hands and knees. Keep your blanket nearby. We'll be using it in a bit. Coming onto the hands and knees. And then we're going to take the hips back onto the heels. Walk the hands back onto the thighs. And just sitting up for a moment here, roll the shoulders back. And then we'll bring the fingertips behind. Take an inhale, lift the chest, lift the heart, maybe lift the chin. And then perhaps with your next inhale, going a little deeper, lifting the hips up and off of the heels. And as you exhale, go ahead and set your hips back down on towards your heels. And then you're going to bring your hands forward, coming back up into tabletop pose. Take an inhale, let the belly drop, lifting up through the gaze. Exhale, tuck your chin, rolling up through the spine. Inhale into that cow pose, arching the spine. And exhaling into cat. On your next inhale, find a neutral spine. And then you'll begin to find your downward facing dog by tucking the toes, lifting the knees, and finding that upside down V pose. If you have your blanket nearby, it can actually be a nice to have as a grounding place for your heels. So if your heels don't come to the earth, you can bring the earth up towards your heels. Just an option I thought of since I had mine handy back there. Let's take 3 deep breaths, really getting aware of what's going on in your container here. I like to say that suffering is optional, and it really is. So if you notice any part of you that's grasping into suffering, complaining or blaming, or feeling not at ease, just come back into the intention. Perhaps in this moment you need to take less. You can always drop the knee. Or perhaps you just need to realign the mind, coming into the breath, coming up out of that mud and up towards the light of your intention like that lotus. Take one more inhale. And exhale, empty out. Gaze towards the hands and just slowly tiptoe your way to the front of the mat, taking your time. Feet are going to ground about hip width distance apart. On an inhale, lift yourself halfway up. And with your exhale, bow forward. Take a moment in this forward fold, shaking your head yes and no. Maybe draping and grabbing opposite elbows. Finding your ragdoll. Taking one more breath in and out. Releasing your fingertips to the earth if you took that bind. And then slowly unwind, unravel yourself all the way up to standing. Taking a moment here to arrive for the first time in this practice, standing on your own 2 feet. So we'll start palms together, pressing them actively to actively come back to the why. Why do you come to your mat? As you inhale, you're going to start to lift the hands, spreading your fingers apart, finding that lotus mudra up towards the sky. Reminding you to grow up towards the light of whatever brought you here. And as you exhale, bow yourself all the way down. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold forward, plant your hands to the mat. You're going to take a big step with your left foot towards the back of the mat, staying bent deep into that right knee. And then spin your back heel towards the floor. We're rising up into our warrior two. So immediately coming back into opening externally into that right hip. So begin to sink the right knee over your ankle, extending long in your fingertips, side to side. Really root down into the earth. As you root into the earth, as you ground into your legs, as we bring this sensation of grounding into our physical container, we begin to draw we align all of ourselves into this yoga, this yoking. We begin to remind ourselves, okay, I'm here, I'm in my physical body. I'm breathing. Where does that suffering pop up? And how can I choose to rise above? Taking one more inhale here. As you exhale, begin to take the hands down to the mat. Take the right foot to meet your left. We're finding a downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in here. And an exhale out. This time you're going to look forward, bring the left foot between the hands, spin the right heel flat, finding warrior two on your left side. So bending that left knee right over the ankle, opening up the arms, and then taking a moment to arrive. So the most important part of this practice of yoga, of yoking, is to arrive so that we can choose, we can breathe. We can take each moment to either choose to stay stuck in the mud, in the muck, in the suffering, or to lift, to rise, to grow like the lotus. Take another breath in. And as you exhale, bring the hands down to the mat. This time the right foot's going to come and meet the left, forward fold, top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. We're going to find chair pose here. Hands can come to the heart center. A few options. You can keep them pressing together or open them into that lotus mudra. Either keeping that right there at your heart center. Our heart chakra is that midway point where we come from who we are here on this earth, and we balance that by what we know to be true from our intellect, from our wisdom. And so this lotus is making that active choice to join the two together. You can keep it right here at the heart or extend it up over the head as the fingertips rise, as you grow your lotus. Shoulders soften down the back, get nice and rooted. Take one more inhale here. And then exhale down into forward folds. Halfway lift with your inhale. And then exhale, fold forward. You're going to shift into the left foot. Take a step back with the right, finding that warrior two once again on your left side. So I'm going to turn around to face you guys. So I'm on that left side with you. All right, so just to get a little bit deeper here, we're just going to bring some movement. Our hips are naturally a fluid part of our body. So we shift from that awareness of being strong and grounded into filling that strong container with some fluidity. So you saw me already starting to move. How we're going to come. We're going to inhale, start to straighten that left knee, bring the palms together. And as you exhale, we're going to bend back into the left knee. So try to track that left knee, straightening it up. As you exhale, you're tracking it right over the ankle, opening up the arms. Just a couple more times, inhaling And exhale. Inhale and exhale. One more time, inhaling together. And exhale, bend into the knee and just stay here, stay deep. So this is where we find that balance point, where we get grounded, we get strong and solid. But our breath brings in that idea of fluidity, that we can grow, we can change, we can shift our perspective. Start to shift the left arm forward. Bring the elbow towards your inner thigh and the right arm up towards the sky. So we're actively opening through that right shoulder, opening up through the right rib cage and chest. Staying bent in the left knee stacked over the ankle. So you can stay here with the elbow on the knee or extend your fingertips down using your elbow as a brace for the knee. So as you brace the knee, you're pressing the knee open towards the pinky toe, activating that external rotation here. Maybe staying here, or for the last couple breaths, taking the right arm overhead, long stretch to that right side body. Deep breath in and exhale out. On your inhale, we're going to rise all the way back up. Begin to straighten your left knee, pivot on your heel, make both feet parallel here. So a little break in the hips as you internally rotate the hips towards one another. Hands come on to the hips, fingers into those hip creases. Inhale, wrap the elbows back, lifting up through the heart. Bring a little micro bend into your knees as you exhale, hinging from your hips, forward fold, wide legs here. Take a deep breath in. And then with your exhale, perhaps just letting the hands come to the ground. Here's where you can really choose what you need in this moment. You can be passive, just letting the crown be relaxed, the hands drape or grab opposite elbows. You can intensify your sensation, walking the hands back or grabbing onto the feet or ankles to help you get a little bit deeper here. Let's take one more breath in and out. Wherever you are with the hands, bring them back to the ground and walk them forward as you inhale, finding a flat spine. Exhale, bring your hands to your hips. And as you inhale, rise all the way up. You're going to turn the right toes towards what was the back of your mat, now the front of your mat, finding your warrior two. I have a little kitty friend who's coming to join for yoga. We'll inhale. Never know what distractions come onto our mats in mobile Om classes, and it's really important that we embrace, once again, these distractions as an opportunity to realign to what's really important, right? Is it important that we have less distractions or that we learn how to deal with the distractions that we have? Staying in that warrior two just another moment. And then we're going to come into that movement where you're going to inhale. We'll start now straightening that right leg. Hi, sweetie. Bring the palms together. And as you exhale, you're going to bend back into that right knee. Inhale, bring the palms together. And exhale, bend deep. Inhale, just a few more times. Exhale as you bend and open. Inhale, coming in. Exhale, bend and open. Let's stay here. All right, getting nice and grounded through the heels, lifted through the heart. Begin to tick-tock forward. Right elbow comes to the right thigh. Left arm stacks up towards the sky. And you're really wrapping that left shoulder back, the left ribs back. And just as solid as you can be in your physical body, bring in that breath to inspire that fluidity. A little bit of ease here. Maybe the last few breaths, you either straighten that right hand down or the left arm up overhead, finding that full extension here. Take an inhale. And then as you exhale, you're going to look to the ground, bring both hands around the right foot, and then just step your right foot back to meet your left. Find your downward facing dog here. Take a deep breath in, and then exhale out. Inhale, look forward. And as you exhale, walk, step, or float the feet to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, reach all the way up, palms touch. And then exhale, bring the hands down to your heart. Begin to walk your feet a little bit wider than your hips. So I'll turn to face you. You're going to walk them a little bit wider than your hips and turn your toes out. Knees are opening up as well. So we're getting into that external hips. Hands come to your heart center. Spreading the middle 3 fingers. Let's find that lotus mudra above the head. A nice big stretch here as you inhale. And as you exhale, you're bringing the thumbs to your heart, bending in the knees, coming down into a squat. So let's inhale, stretch it all the way up. And as you exhale, come all the way down into a squat. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale to squat. Feeling those hips waking up. They may be muddy. We're here just to notice. One more time each way. We'll stay down low this next time. Coming down low. Elbows to inner thighs. Palms can press if that works better for you. But be inspired by this lotus mudra. To not get stuck in whatever is going on in your mind. To really take in what's going on here and now. Right, kitty? What's right here, right now. And then go ahead and take your hands down towards the mats. And we're going to bring your hips to meet the ground. All right, once again, windshield wipe your knees from side to side. All right, and we're just going to turn around and find your way into a tabletop pose. Making your way into tabletop, knees right underneath your hips here. So we're going to bring the big toes together, knees really wide. So a wide-kneed child's pose, hips coming towards the heels, bowing your forehead all the way down. Taking a few moments just to re-arrive here. This beautiful moment, your beautiful body, beautiful breath. Taking in this virtual community. On your next inhale, you're going to begin to come back up onto your hands. Keep those big toes together. Finding a nice, we're going to call this our little stray kitty pose. Stray kitty pose. Got our cat laying on the mat with us. Knees stay together. So I'm going to kind of crawl back so I don't run into my new kitty friend here. Big toes together, knees wide. So you're going to start to see if you can bring your knees a little bit wider. This is where our blanket may come in handy. You're going to bring that blanket across the mat. And so you have some padding for your knees. So you're going to walk your knees as wide as you can get them here. Get them really, really wide. So they're coming off the side of your mat, but you're trying to keep those big toes together. So this is called our tadpole pose. And we begin to bring the chest or the heart or arms down towards the mat, finding a little bit of surrender here. As you let the heart melt. Just coming into a long, full, deep breath. And this is already getting pretty deep into our hips, preparing us for where we're going next, if you choose to go deeper. If you're taking that journey with me, just begin to come back onto the hands. Lift your hips up and away from your heels. And the only difference we're doing here is to bring our ankles in line with the knees. So we're kind of creating that squat. And you begin to press the hips towards the heels. Once again, finding the depth of your pose by bringing the forearm to the mat and letting the forehead drop down. Long, full, deep breaths. This is a pose that can bring up a lot of messiness. It's very uncomfortable. And so in these moments of being uncomfortable, where we're pushing up against our reactiveness of where we want to fight what we're feeling, or perhaps we want to flee and think about something different, or perhaps even easing out so we don't have to feel so deeply. My teacher says in order to heal, we need to feel. And feeling requires being present in the messiness. And that healing comes when we move through the mud and we grow our wisdom. When we grow our resilience. And like the lotus flower, become this beautiful blossom despite the mud around us. One more breath in and out here. And to get out, just start to lie towards your belly. Bring your knees towards one another and just windshield wipe your feet from side to side. You can bring your forehead down to the mat. And we're just going to press ourselves back towards the heels. And then just shift the heels to one side and come to sitting on your mat. Extending both legs out in front. Move the flesh away from your sit bones. Maybe elevating the hips up onto your blanket or your towel here. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, long forward fold. Shoulders roll down the back. Back of the heart lifting with each inhale. And surrendering deeper with each exhale. On your next inhale, begin to rise all the way back up. And take that right foot, and we're going to cross the right knee over the left knee. So we're crossing into like a half shoelace pose here. Getting some internal rotation, some release from all that work we've done, opening the inside of our thighs. Take an inhale, and just to your level of comfort or discomfort, I'd say, fold forward here. Hello, kitty. On your next inhale, go ahead and come upright. And we'll just switch sides, bringing that right leg out and turning that left knee to stack over the right. Taking an inhale here, and as you exhale, folding forward to your level, what you want to work with here. So we're here to work with our natural reactions and choose to respond differently. And that is how we use our lotus energy to grow out of the mud, out of the muck. One more. Next inhale, walk up. And then go ahead and bring that left leg out to meet the right. You're going to go ahead and make your way all the way back. Lying down on your back. Take an inhale pulling the hands towards the top of the mat, feet long. And as you exhale, take your knees in towards your chest. Rock side to side, releasing out through the low back. When we really work on our hips, it helps to unlock our sacrum. If you have low back issues or have frequent low back pain, it could be stemming from some tightness in our hips. So it's good to work out the hips to find some release down there. And take the knees wide, feet towards the sky. One last little external hip opener into your happy baby. Maybe you take a moment to rock, or if you want, just finding stillness, releasing a few more moments to whatever sensations you've awakened or opened in the hips and inner thighs. And then bring your feet together, knees together, hug them towards the chest. We're going to allow the arms to come out to a T, and then the knees fall over to the left side. Let gravity take over here. Your chin can be up towards the sky or over towards the right side. And taking long, full, deep breaths. On your next inhale, move your knees and shins through center, rocking into the center of your sacrum. And as you exhale, knees will fall over towards the right side. Gaze can stay straight up or turn over the left shoulder. And just surrender to gravity, allowing the earth to hold you here. Your next inhale, go ahead and bring your knees up into center. This time you're going to squeeze the shins towards your nose towards the knees. Hug yourself in, give yourself a big squeeze. And then release it all out. Head to the earth, feet release out, palms facing up towards the sky. Taking a moment to scan your container, your physical body here. See if you need to shift in any way to feel more comfortable, even 10% more comfortable. And feel as if you're being held here without effort, even releasing the effort of breathing, so that it's as if the breath is breathing you. As you watch the natural rhythm of your own breath, let it connect you to this fluidity, this inherent movement that's always within. When you notice your mind moving towards the mud, the muck, perhaps of some distracting thoughts, distracting sensations in your body, just choose the fluid breath to anchor back, to help feed and nourish your intention. That we may grow out and away from these distractions to a place of clarity, of ease, of peace. That's not some far off land, but actually is a subtle space within us all. We can discover the more we lean in and listen. So just take a few more breaths here in the sweet space of yourself. Listening to any subtle messages or insights might be available, or perhaps just sinking in deeper to a state of surrender. And I'll gently begin the process of coming back into the awareness of your hands and your feet. And just begin to gently wake up into your physical container. As you're ready, draw the knees towards your chest, and you can roll to either side or rock and roll your way up. We're going to meet in a seat, similar to how we began. So if you want to bring that blanket or towel underneath the hips. And I invite you to switch the crossing of your legs from whatever you naturally cross. Bring the opposite ankle in front or on top. Palms come to the heart center, sealed together to begin. Close the eyelids. Take a couple of breaths. Full circle, coming back to your intention for coming to practice this morning. And honoring yourself for showing up continuously until this moment, that you've made it here. And begin to peel the middle three fingers apart, finding the open palmed lotus mudra. And I want you to take just a moment to think of one way that you can be inspired by this lotus energy, or this symbolism of taking whatever muddiness, messiness, discomfort, frustration, reaction is in your life, and using it as an opportunity to blossom or grow or open up to something new. For myself, I've been struggling with this virtual world of yoga because I don't get to connect with each of you. So the muddiness is in this new world that's uncomfortable. Perhaps even uncomfortable like how you're sitting, a little different. But since we're naturally fluid beings, we have our breath as a constant reminder that even though things may seem rigid, we can blossom. We can breathe. We can grow into something new. Take one more breath in and out here. Allow the palms to press back together, thumbs coming to your third eye, where we acknowledge that space, that seed of wisdom within ourselves and within each other in this virtual community. And showing up as important as it is for ourselves, it's so important to do for one another. So I'm grateful to have each and every one of you here this morning. Thank you for sharing this time with me. Namaste.